Welcome to Transformational Fighting Arts Online. I'm Sifu Marcus. Today we're going to be doing basic Baizhang stance or the en garde stance. It's really the stance that you do everything from. It's your neutral stance that all of your weapons come from. So it is essential that you understand this stance, and it's essential that you have this stance correct. So it's either your en garde stance or it's called your Baizhang stance. So what we need, Nick, will you come on in here? This is Nick, everybody. So Nick is just going to stand here, and before he gets in his Baizhang, we just have a normal guy standing here. And the big issue before you get into your Baizhang is to understand that your Baizhang's always at 50-50, okay? Front foot, back foot, 50-50, and you always want to stay over your center. Start that. And what this does, it'll allow you to access all of your tools, because every one of your tools can come from the Baizhang. A good Baizhang will allow you not to telegraph any of your weapons. So they don't know which weapons you're going to use, so you have access to them, and they don't know which one you're going to use. So, Nick, will you get in your Baizhang or your en garde stance? So I'm going to adjust Nick here, and we're just going to place him just a little bit more there. Okay, so right now, Nick is kind of in a normal kind of sloppy Baizhang, so we're going to adjust him. And we're going to start from the bottom up. So the first foot, the front foot, you want at a 45-degree angle, okay? That's the big issue. So when you're talking about this is 0, this is 90, 45 is like that. So if this is 90, if a 0, and this is 90, 45 is off to the side. So we're going to adjust his foot kind of like that. The back foot should look like the same distance. So we're going to adjust his foot like that. You see how those feet are pointing in the exact same position, okay? So 45 degrees on both feet. The back foot will go up on its toe just a little bit. See? He raises up just a little bit, maybe an inch off the ground. But you do not upset the 50-50 quotient, right? So when you're doing it, you're not going to lean forward or lean back. It's still 50-50 on these legs. So in order to raise that back heel, this back leg has to go up. This knee has to bend just a little bit more than this front knee in order to compensate for that back heel going off the ground. The other thing is that back heel gives you some stabilization. It enables you to absorb some contact in that back heel, but it also gives you a spring order to explode off, and that's for your push shuffle and your step and slide. In other videos, we're going to go over that, so please watch those. So those are the feet, 45-degree angles, 50-50. The other thing is, if I drew a line down Nick right here, and if Nick turns to the camera right now, if you draw a line, 45 there. If you drew a line down Nick, if you notice, right, if it went straight down him, right, through his groin, if you notice, his front toe is on the right side of that line, and his back heel is on the left side. It bisects his entire body, but his feet are on opposite sides of that line. That's where you want. If what I call getting on your tightrope happens, when Nick puts his feet on the tightrope, which is what people tend to do because they want to walk around in this position or this position, it gets rid of your lateral stability. So we want you to be off your tightrope. Remember, different sides of the center line, okay? So Nick is there. There you go. Oops, a little bit too much. There you go. Now, of course, this is a little bit perfect on what I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to give you the optimum positioning for the en garde stance. Of course, like Nick does, you can adjust this because it has a lot of variance, okay? So, the hip. The other thing I want you to understand is I want you to remember to place your hip under you. So what does that mean? So if Nick turns that way and is pointing that way, sticking your hip out, this happens a lot. Really what I want you to do in Tai Chi or Qigong, what they say is pointing your tailbone at the ground. You see how this part is flat? This allows you to generate energy up from the ground through your back, and it stabilizes the core muscles so that you actually have power, so you can generate power from the hip into the arm. So you got to make sure you're almost pointing the tailbone at the ground. In Qigong, what they call it is sitting without sitting. You'll feel like you're sitting in a chair without really sitting in a chair, okay? So there you go. Kind of relaxed tension in the torso. So now we can talk about some of the arms, right? So the arms and the shoulders are pointed in the same direction as the legs. If you notice, his hips and his feet and his shoulders are almost pointing that way, while his arms and head are pointing that way. Look at the camera again there, Nick. There you go. Okay. You're on your tightrope just a little bit there. There you go. And there you go. Beautiful. So once again, you see how his hips are pointing this way, his shoulders pointing this way, right? But his arms and his heads are pointing at you, which would be the opponent, right? That 45-degree angle helps you cut off surface area, because if he's turning like this, if he's square to you, you see all the surface area, lots of places to hit. You want to cut that down. Less places to hit, less surface area. The other issue with the arms, you want your arms about a fifth's length from your torso. Why? It's because if something hits here, you have some compression area. If it's right next to your rib cage, when it hits, it just transfers straight to your rib cage. So you want it somewhere about a fist's length from your body. Now, we're going to go back over that center line concept. That same thing about your feet being on opposite sides of the center line, you want your hands to be on opposite sides of the center line too. Why? Is because if they're right in front of each other, they tend to hit each other a lot. So that's what I want. I want them on opposite sides of the center line. And then one, your left hand or your rear hand, depending if you're left-handed or right-handed, goes to the back, because it does primarily protect your face because it's closer to your face. But it doesn't always do that, okay? That is just a generalization. Do not fixate on any of these rules, right? The right hand, which is the closest hand, is more of the attack hand, right? But once again, just a general rule. And it sits closer to the target because it wants to close the distance faster, right? So it sits there and it sits on both sides. Once again, you see that? You want to have your fists open or closed. Doesn't really matter. Depends on whether you want to hit with fists or open palms. It doesn't matter. See how his head is kind of slightly crouched down, kind of protecting his chin? If his head's up like this, right, it means his chin is very open. So he just wants to kind of protect his chin down, and instead of giving him more face to hit, he gives him the more protected area, which is the top of his skull. So this is the basic Baizhang stance right here. All of your weapons come out of this stance. You're going to turn this way and just give him a side view of that, and then turn around again, just to give him the back of it, right? And face me now. There you go. And face them again one more time. Come right over here. There you go. That is the basic Baizhang stance, okay? The big issue, though, is the 50-50 and keeping your hip down, right? And being relaxed in this. This is not a static stance. Thank you, Nick. This is not a static stance. This stance moves around because these are not necessarily constant systems. They're always in flux, but it's a generalistic. So when I say here, I don't mean you have to lock this down. It can move, okay? But this is a generalistic stuff. None of these rules are written in stone, so you have to understand that. So that's the Baizhang or the en garde stance. So if you want some better quality videos, you can always go to transformationalfightingartsonline.com. That's where all of the really nice videos that I put up are, and some exclusive videos that I only put up on that site. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can always go into the comment section of Transformational Fighting Arts Online. And keep in mind that the only way that I put up this free material is through your donating now. So if you do that, it will help out everybody and allow me to continue this so I can give you all this great information. So thank you very much. I'm Sifu Marcus Lovemore. This is Transformational Fighting Arts Online. Remember, it's not about knowing it, it's about living it. Thanks.